and WB. So before I start, I want to point out that I generated this world. First world, I was just going for any test world in the new 18W22A snapshot, and I'm surrounded by this cold ocean. What's it called? Frozen ocean. So yeah, there's some blue ice over here, and there's actually a shipwreck under there. You see that? It's inside of this iceberg. So yeah, rip. But anyway, the concept that I'm going to talk about today is actually something, it relates to something that I've been really excited about, is the fact that you can swim in the water. I already made a video about this. The mechanics have changed a little bit, but you see how you enter this different state and you're lying prone and you're able to go up and down. But this adds a little bit of some new features, because you can actually enter a 1x1 block space and not suffocate. And I'll show you what I discovered again as I was working on this video, because again the mechanics have changed. But what I wanted to talk about today was efficient mining based on how many blocks you break versus how many blocks you can see. So what has been on this wall is kind of the standard forms that I've seen. The one on the left is the one that I've always used, and the one that I've seen the most. I don't actually know if I've seen this one on the right, but you can see that if you mine these 4 blocks, you can see these extra 8 blocks around it. And just because if you're mining through, those are your walls and your ceiling and your floor. And so if you go up to this position, then you can see these edges, and eventually your entire wall will be filled and you'll see every block, and that you will be able to clear out an entire area without mining every single block, and yet being able to know where all the ores and stuff are. And this one is, you mine out these 2 blocks and you're able to see these 6 around it, and the tessellation is a little bit different. So the efficiency of this is 1 to 2. You mine 1 block and you can see 2 blocks. It's the corner blocks. And the efficiency of this one is 1 to 3. The higher that lower number, the better the efficiency, because you mine this block and you can see these edge blocks. And so the thing that is common about these two is that you can put a floor here and you can still see every block as you go down into the mine, but you're able to transfer between levels via stairs or something. And same here, you can put a floor here. It would be a little bit different because this kind of intersects with the floor, but you can put a staircase here and you would still be able to get to every, here, maybe I can show, and that might cause problems, but you can still get to every area, and it's still semi-viable. But down here I have an example where you can use this water trick to do a 1x1 area, and your efficiency is 1 to 4 because you see all of the blocks around it. Now the method that you enter that single block space, and I don't know, this might change as they continue with updates. 1.13 is not out yet, but you can enter this space, and it's a little tricky to set up. But once you do that, you can just mine right through the wall, and you can go as far as you want. But there's some problems with that. First of all, this shape is weird. You have this strange kind of twisted square, but you have these 2 intersecting lines, one with a slope of 1/2 and one with a slope of -2, and you can reverse those if you get the square the other direction. But this shape it's hard to engineer around, like how with the 2x2 you could have a floor. That's kind of where I'm basing this around, the practicality of using this system. So with this one, it's harder to have a floor because you have these weird angles. So this is how I set up to get into that 1x1 block space, and in the video I made before, you only needed to have water at your feet, and then you were able to jump up onto this entry space, this one block at your face. So I'm just blocking in with signs, and another problem comes up with this because you can waterlog signs. And so they only stop water sometimes, and oh dear, there we go. So it might glitch out on you at some point, and your method for holding the water back would be broken. And so the changes in this is you need to be fully submerged, your face and your feet. As far as, yeah, you can't have your face only submerged, but well, I don't know that, I haven't tested that. But anyway, I need these 2 blocks in with this new system, but then you're able to sprint forward and look up, and you successfully enter this 1 block, and you can walk around just like normal. And so this is actually the new thing that I noticed. When you crouch before, it would put your head up at actual crouching range because you were standing on the block, but this, you're actually in swimming form, and when you crouch, it doesn't quite do that. You just kind of wiggle like a worm. If I go in here, you should be able to see a little bit better. Worm wiggles. So yeah, but through here is our first problem. Gravel is everywhere under, not our first problem. Gravel is everywhere underground, and if you break the gravel, then you'll get the air spaces where you will get stuck, and you have no way of entering that 1 block space again. So it's another hardship where you have to be careful what you're doing, because you will need to have blocks on hand to cover that up whenever you mine gravel. And then another thing, you can have entries on both sides. But I wanted to set up an example of what a mine might look like, and this was my first idea. This is the shape that they go for, and my first idea was to put stairs, and if you put slabs, then you see you fit into any of these slots, but the problem is you can't walk between them. It's not enough space for you to actually use the stairs, and so there's just, you're out of luck if you use that idea. And here's another one based on the idea of the flooring, and you have to go through a bunch of hoops to even use this system, because they're at each space is at 1 of every Y level. You have 1 on the base level, 1 block up, 1 2 blocks up, and then 1 3 blocks up, which can be used as the next base level. So this one is fine. It's at floor height. You can enter that just fine. This one, if you have a slab system like this, then you can walk up and then into these 2 blocks, and you can enter that just fine. But the next one is right in the middle of the floor, and so you can do it this way, where you have a slab and then you jump, and then you can still reach this by sprinting. And then there's some weird stuff if you try to leave. Let me see if I can recreate that. Yeah, you can jump up onto the next one up through here. But this next level was an example of a no, that one was normal. If you have this one, I was thinking about doing stairs, but you actually hit your head if the level is this big, so you can't walk right up. And if you move it 1/2 step up, then it works great. But the problem with that is that the next floor up is changed. You can't walk through this if it's on the roof. So you'd have to mine out extra blocks just to make that access plausible, and then if you're going down the hallway, you bounce up and down, and so it's not nice. And then another one is just like this, where you don't need the stairs. Oh yeah, and the stairs, you have to place the sign on the stairs, and it's fine, but it makes it a little bit different. You have to mine out that block, and that's where the water is being held in. So here's another one where you just have to jump, same principle. And then on this side, I have one, this sign is placed on that sign. If you crouch and place the sign, it works great. And then this water is held back again, so you don't need to have that extra this block up, but you do have to jump again, and it just adds extra complexity to even getting in the mine. So actually, can I do stairs here? So first of all, it messes those up. No, it doesn't look like that helps. So it's just creating a problem that there's no reason to engineer this when there's other easier ways with slightly less efficiency. I would value the simplicity over the efficiency, the full efficiency, because this is, again, 1 to 4, and yet I would call it implausible. It's not worth it in my mind. It's easier to stick to the other ones and not use this system, even though it's super awesome, and I'm totally using this for mini bases. This is great. I just love this concept of going through these little tiny tunnels. Here, let's go. So again, I wouldn't call this worth it. So all the way back up the top, you're better with sticking with one of these, and preferably, in my opinion, oh dear, there we go. Preferably this 2x2. It's the easiest to keep track of, and it has the lowest efficiency of all of these examples, yet it's easy to use, and that's the point of having a strip mine, is you want to get these metals as thoroughly but as simply as possible. And I mean, you can use the beacon with a haste 2 and efficiency 4 pick and just blast out all of the blocks, but this is keeping in mind what you do before that. So thanks for watching, and stick with this system even though mini bases are really cool. So yeah, take care.